Much love and peace to all watching and or listening to Candid Stories of My Soul with myself as the host, Racquel Shelby. From the moment we take our first breath and every experience that follows builds us up and creates the individuals we are today. In life, we will experience both the good and the bad because in order for balance to exist, both must coexist. There cannot be good without bad, nor can there be chaos without peace. The Creator is the author of it all. Whether we believe in God, Source, or not, He is within all of us. Source is with us and is present at all times just as much as our DNA. You will get to audibly witness many journeys of individuals as they are living, breathing, and ever growing documentaries in the flesh. Many will test how the Creator was there, and many of these accounts will be mind blowing. Today, I have Honey the Healer, and this will be an insightful interview. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We are doing
Thank you
it.
for having me.
So, introduce. Oh, you are very welcome. Very, very. Oh, it's my pleasure. So introduce yourself. Let us know what you do and everything like that.
Okay, I'm Honey the Healer. I am a Reiki Master teacher. I teach Reiki. I am also a practitioner. Um, I'm an avid believer in energy, law of attraction, law of free will, um, and all things coming from source. As you were saying earlier, that was an awesome intro. But
Oh, thank you.
I do a lot, study a lot of history. I think that's how I got attracted to Reiki. Reiki is an ancient practice. Um, and I always compare it to the same type of healing energy Jesus had. Um, it has the same healing effects and works miracles. So it pretty much heals the mind, body, and soul, the chakra system, energy centers, and aura, where trauma begins. What else do I do? I guess I can call myself a herbalist. I don't really ever call myself that because I know people that are like way better herbalists than me. So, but I love taking herbs. I've been raising my children taking herbs and meditation. All those things that come from source, that come from God, are very important to me. They've been keeping us healthy, alive all these years. We pretty much stay healthy. We don't have any serious issues, health issues, mental issues. So we're pretty healthy. I've been at this for about 15 years now. I've been a Reiki teacher for about 7 months. I've had about over 20 graduates. So I'm excited about that.
That's a big deal.
And I'm a hairstylist as well. So I'll make you beautiful, make you feel beautiful, and heal your heart, soul.
Oh, well, that's one hell of a combination. I like it. I like it. So, prior to you actually turning this thing that you believe, right? Well,
Mhm.
let's get into that. What are your belief systems specifically? Like, do you have a religion based or is it just spiritual based? Or how would you explain your belief system and how you practice?
I do not believe in a religion. I believe that there are truths in all religions. Um, I would say that I'm spiritual. I believe in, like I said, I believe in Source, the Creator. I believe that the Creator is in all things, which is part of the reason why I take herbs the way that I do. There are herbs and the things that help cleanse the energy of the body and things like that. So I wouldn't say that I would believe in anything specific. Um, I also believe I am guided by my angels, ancestors, and spirit guides, angels. Well, I said angels.
Okay.
um, So I follow the guidance of them. I get guidance in dreams, meditation. Um, Sometimes in my meditation, I am guided to pray for assistance with archangels, which is people like Jesus, Buddha, people like that. I'll pray for help.
Hmm.
So the people who came to this planet to help raise consciousness. And that's why I said that there are truths in all religions, all these people that these religions believe in came here to raise consciousness, but some of those things have been twisted by humans.
Yes, definitely.
um, but yeah, I'm pretty, I would say the universe is my religion.
Okay. I could dig it. I could dig it. So, are you from a religious background at all?
Absolutely, I was raised a Jehovah Witness. Um, my entire family is still in the religion. I left out of the religion about 13 years ago. Um, I did that just by doing my own research. They don't want you looking up certain things, and I was being rebellious and started looking up those things, not thinking anything was wrong with it. I didn't think I was really going to find anything. I had doubts growing up. It was wrong to doubt, so I never asked any questions. But things like dinosaurs, aliens, learning science in school, like science never matched up with the Bible. I always wondered about that.
Mhm.
And I love science. I'm a huge fan of science, and now I know that science is a part of spirituality. They used science in ancient times as a part of spirituality. So, yeah, I came from the Jehovah Witness religion, believing in Jesus and Jehovah. Jehovah is Jesus' father. Very strict religion. So, of
Mhm.
course, I have been shunned for having children, not believing in the religion anymore. um, yeah.
That's funny. It's really interesting, and what's funny about it is the fact that why wouldn't you be able to research? And this is not something that is exclusive to Jehovah's Witnesses. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, even in the apostolic Pentecostal faith, which I grew up in, questioning things made people angry, you know. And
And they say made God
it's like,
angry.
what's the big deal? I think even yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think they even said like science was the devil or something like that. I don't know. It's a lot of interesting things that have been said. But when you say that you were shunned, how deep, if you feel comfortable talking about it, if you don't, we'll move forward.
Hmm.
How far does the shunning go?
Well, I was never baptized, but if you are baptized, you get disfellowship, and that means nobody can associate with you that is a Jehovah's Witness. But I was never baptized, but I was still shunned. I got pregnant at 17 and was shunned inside my house. Like I still lived with my parents, and I was shunned. My family stopped talking to me. My parents weren't really speaking to me. Like they would speak to me when they had to, but I was pretty much locked away in my room and on punishment, pretty much.
Mm,
And pretty much since then, I've still been treated the same way. Nothing's really changed. I've had to defend myself lots of times, so things are. I do have more respect from my family now a little bit.
mhm,
But yeah, the shunning goes all the way to your parents, your own parents, not communicating with you, which can be really hard, especially with both. I have two children, so with both of my pregnancies, both times I was alone. So
mm,
both my pregnancies were very traumatic. Not having anyone, that's the time you're supposed to celebrate, and it wasn't celebrated. It was shunned upon just because I wasn't married.
mhm,
So that's where most of my shunning came from. But the more tattoos I got, The further away from the religion that I got, the more I didn't, because throughout the years I would still go to different events like the conventions or the memorial of Jesus Christ's death. I
Okay.
would still go to things like that to satisfy my parents, but it wasn't satisfying them. They were still disappointed in me. It was like I could never satisfy them, and it just got to the point where I just didn't care anymore. But yeah, the shunning can be pretty terrible. I personally know people that committed suicide because they were shunned by their family, and because you are only supposed to associate with Jehovah's Witnesses. You're not supposed to have any friends outside of the religion. You're not even supposed to really communicate with family, just your own blood outside of the religion. So when you are shunned, you have no one. So I went through that at 17, but I'm grateful that I went through that because I got to be where I am now. I am surrounded by love now, and love with what's the word? No conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Love with no conditions is way better than love with conditions.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm super grateful for that. I'm grateful for the experience. So, and I understand why it happened. So, yeah.
Yeah, respectfully, I want to say that because I don't know who's listening, and we have to be very respectful. You don't want to offend anyone unless in case I don't care to, certain things I'm not going to care about. But in this regard, um, to me, that doesn't sound like a religion. It sounds like a cult. But a lot of these religions be slash on the verge, if not
Cultish.
there, with
Yeah.
occultism. So, so yeah.
Well, a lot
And
of
then when
people
it
don't
comes
know
to the
what
shunning thing,
cult
I think,
is.
yeah, I mean, people follow these religions, and they, back in the day, I don't know if you remember this guy. I think it was Jim Jones had people drinking the Kool Aid and taking themselves up out of here. You just have to be careful and have a level of awareness. And then, how is any religion not projecting that love and unconditional love? There should be no shunning. That's the point of this thing. And like you had said earlier, these things have been perverted over time through manhood. And I think the thing about the shunning, though, I think what's in as much as it's hard going through it, when you look at it, what the role that you're taking on in real life, a lot of people are going to look at you like, huh? You're going to kind of be shunned. So you have to have that thick skin to be able to go forward and do what you got to do. And what
Mhm.
better training ground than your parents? You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Mhm.
my parents were my training ground. They really were in a lot of ways. And
Yeah.
one day we will talk about that, but we are talking about you. So, um, so when what age did you have your second child?
22.
22. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's not a bad age. I mean, shoot. I don't know. I can't
It
imagine
was
it.
the fact that I wasn't
Parenthood is
married.
hard. Oh yeah. Oh, I already know. I got that. That's here with the Pentecostal apostolic too. I mean, I was actually asked by a family member, did I want to give my child up for adoption?
Mm.
No, I ain't say nothing about that. Why you asking me that? You know. So I'm telling you, it's something. It's something being a young mother, especially a single parent, and it's something. It's something all the way around the board, especially coming from a religious background. It's deep. So
Mhm.
before, so now you're in the research phase. What
Mhm.
was the day that made you say, I'm going this direction? Was it an experience? Was it an epiphany? I mean, what happened to get you to say, I'm I'm choosing this route?
Well, what helped was the shunning. because I didn't have anybody in my ears and this is what you need to do. You know you wrong for not going to the hall. There was people. That's what they call their church, the Kingdom Hall. But there was
Mhm.
people telling me I needed to do this, but because I took myself away from them,
Mhm.
um, I was able to think for myself and not allow those negative thoughts to come in. But when I was 21, I was studying to get baptized. You have to study for about a year, get baptized out of a certain book, and then
Mm.
you have to go over questions to
Mm.
get baptized, and it's over 100 questions. And then a team of elders who are like the reverends or the preachers of the Kingdom Hall, they have meetings to basically talk about if you're ready or not. And if you're ready, that means you've been spending time out doing preaching work on a regular basis. You study on a regular basis. It's like a lot of list of a check off list that you have to um, be approved of, basically. And at the time, I didn't know, but a lot of the elders didn't like my father. My father was not, couldn't tell him what to do. So even though he believed in a religion, he didn't really follow the rules. Like he said what he wanted to say, and he did what he wanted to do.
Mhm.
So at the time, I didn't know that they had beef with my father. They ended up not allowing me to get baptized because I had a lot of people in my family that got this fellowship. So that meant I really still don't understand to this day, but basically I might get this fellowship like they did. And at the time, I was dating a guy that was a Jehovah's Witness. He was baptized, but they told me I needed to stop dating him. And I did. I did listen to him because I was considered worldly because I wasn't baptized. So that's their rule. Like if you're baptized, you can't date anybody worldly. So I considered worldly. I followed what they told me to do. And you get baptized at the convention, which is thousands and thousands of people are there. So the day before, I actually went through my questions about 4 months before the convention. So, and they're supposed to get back with you in about a week or so. They got back with me 4 months later, which was the day before the convention. It was like actually 11 o'clock at night before the
Mhm.
convention, and one of the elders came to my house and told me that I wasn't ready.
Mm.
And at the time, I knew exactly what was going on in that moment. Like this one particular elder's always had it out for me since I was like in middle school. So I was pissed in that moment. Everybody thought I was getting baptized. So I had people at the convention, hundreds of people coming up to me saying congratulations, and I had to tell them like I get baptized. So that was
Mm.
humiliating, and I was kind of sick of it. Like I had put my all into it, and I had these humans telling me I'm not ready. So that just wasn't connecting with me in no type of way. Like, how
Right.
can this person, I was to call him out his name, how can this person tell me I'm not ready?
Right.
So I ended up slowly stepping away. Went over his head and told him because how they all treated me was totally wrong. My dad ended up calling the meeting, and my dad almost fought a couple of elders, like physically fought them. And then yeah, I just slowly drifted off. And when I tried to go back, which was me studying to get baptized again, there was a portion in the a book we were going over, and we had gone over this lots of times. And you know, when I was little, there was no internet. So the older I got, the more they started talking about the internet, and that to not look these things up on the internet. They didn't at the time. They didn't even want you to have social media.
Mm.
I didn't understand like why. Why can't Google? And at the time, I think it was Ask Jeeves or something like that. But I'm
Oh, I
like,
remember.
why can't you look this up? So as soon as she left from my Bible study, I started looking these things up. Like, if it's wrong, it's wrong. Like, why can't my eyes gonna bleed or something?
Right.
So I, I looked it up, and I was traumatized because a lot of the things that I saw, which was on YouTube, it made sense. They were talking about the man that started the religion, um, George Taz Russell or something. I can't remember his name exactly. But I started doing my research on him, and I found out he was Mason. And I found
Mm.
out that most Masons start religions and or start cults. So the more I started finding out, I'm like, bro, nope, not looking up nothing else. So I kind of just buried it, like pretend that I didn't see this. And at the time, I started talking to a guy that was super woke. He was like a historian, I would say, like a hood historian.
Okay. Okay.
And he taught me a lot about, he started teaching me a lot about real history, Egypt, Egyptian history, Kemet. But before all that, he was just like, everything you believe in is some bullshit. I'm like, really? No, it's not. It's not. I have scriptures I can show you. Like, no. Look at I had pictures of the ruins of Babylon and shit like that. He like, dog, they need them pictures up. That ain't shit. But what, but what got me was he was just like, forget all that. Show me that the Bible is true without using Bible. And I was like, I already know I can't do that.
Right.
I can't. So I started asking them questions after that. Like, okay, well, who do you pray to? And like, I don't know who I'm supposed to pray to. Like, we're taught you're supposed to say the person's name when you pray. Like, you pray, you address Jehovah when you first start praying, and when you end the prayer, you say in Jesus' name, Amen. I'm like, so how am I supposed to pray? Who am I supposed to pray to?
Hmm.
Just all type of questions. Like, and he started teaching me about the moon and the sun too. Like, as far as like energy, like if the moon can make the ocean move. Like, what do you think it does to you and you're 90% water?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh God. And then
Right.
he told me about like when you die and they try to bring you back to life, what they use? Electricity. They zap you back.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, it's so true. Like little stuff like that. I was like, okay.
Mhm.
So I started going to a bookstore called the Truth Bookstore in Northland. And that's when I really started diving into studying Egyptian history,
Okay.
and also a book that stood out to me back then was A Kemetic Diet, and it had a lot to do with basically being vegan and fasting. And when you do fast, you connect spiritually. So I just started diving into healing myself. I got really sick, excuse me, because of the stress I was under at the time.
Hmm.
Um, I had these little babies with no help, so I was mad at the world and didn't want to be. So
Hmm.
everything I started doing for myself, taking at the time I didn't know that they were spiritual baths, but it's basically sea salt water, herbs, and you praying before you get in the water.
Hmm.
And I was doing things like that every night, and I was healing myself and elevating and exercising. I had a personal trainer. I was fast. I was very successful in the hair industry, and I had these. I was only by this time I was 23, and I had a
Hmm.
luxury apartment. I owned my own car. I was doing great for myself, and I was feeling great.
Hmm.
So I knew that I was going down the right path. I still had doubts, but I was always taught, God knows your heart. God
Hmm.
is love. So I just stuck with that, and I promised myself to always follow love and follow the good feeling. And that pretty much got me where I am now.
Right. That's deep. That's deep. I'm thinking about something you had said about your father. That kind of made me think about my own. I think there's always a person. So you have the one person that comes through that's different from the rest of the family, right? The renegade, the one that brings forth
Mhm.
enlightenment. Just totally, they have this religious family because that's their training ground. I think like we have spoken before, to reject judgment and to really understand what love is and different things that you learn from coming through these families. But I think like these fathers and they have somewhat of the renegade personality, but they don't all the way walk in it. They're teetering.
Mhm.
They're the ones that have the door cracked open. They're the
Yeah.
ones that give you that peak and that courage that flicks the light on. And here it is now in the earth, or in the earthly manifestation. You've got all this going on with the elders and your dad and all of this that you can like explain from a human point standpoint. But I really think if you look back, you have guides, and you have your ancestors, and you have God, and you have those in your corner that already knows where you need to go. So they're shutting stuff
Mhm.
down, and it's making sense on a, you know what I'm saying, from a human standpoint. But what it was shutting things down because it sounds like you were getting shut down, or turning, probably probably after 18, things started to change a little bit.
17. Mhm.
17, okay. Okay, so it makes sense. And I don't, I can't tell you when. Probably about 20 for me. We'll say 20 because
Mhm.
I'm, you know. So yeah, I mean, that's deep. I just wanted to make that correlation. I don't know if that makes sense to you or resonates or you don't agree. You know what I'm
Well,
saying? But that's just
I
what
was
was popping up in
told
my
I
head.
was told by other ex Jehovah's Witnesses that that was actually a huge protection on my part of my ancestors because um, their way of baptism is ritualistic. I was being protected.
Okay.
So like other people that I know that have been baptized, they've been trying to like, for layman's terms, to unbaptize themselves. They
Okay.
feel cursed,
Okay. So
basically.
I was picking up the right vibe whilst I was
Yeah.
listening. That's good.
Mhm.
That's good. That's good. I was like, yeah, they be, because before you even know to reach out to them, they know. So
Mhm.
they're watching you. You know what I'm saying? And if
Mhm.
they have to, they have to pull the plug, then they gonna do it. It's
Exactly.
something
I'm so
someone said.
grateful.
Oh yes, there's something. I watched something. It was a NDE, a near death experience video, and
Mhm.
this guy has his YouTube channel. He has different people talking about that, and something I want to do too. I want to get to. And somebody said, one of these interviews, they said something that stood out to me. They said, um, "You cannot get away from your destiny. Your destiny is your destiny, but the free will in the whole thing is where you take the routes that you take. You can, it's just like, I mean, I can take Southfield to 94 and get downtown, and you can take the Lodge, but we still gonna get
Mhm.
downtown. You know what I'm saying? Type
Mhm.
of thing. I thought that was an interesting statement. I don't know how spot on they were, but considering they died, came back to life, had an interesting story, I think it has some weight, you know. Unless, I mean, unless then well, no, I'll just leave it at that. So anyway, back to you. Back to you. Okay,
Well,
so
and my comment
now we're
to
at the
that,
point you have met.
my opinion to that is that I actually just taught a
Okay.
Reiki class before I did this interview. In my experience, if you're down these different paths, and if you keep trying to go down a different path, that's when people start having
Okay.
these near death experiences. And some people call them spiritual injuries. So
Okay. Oh, that's
either your
deep.
life is gonna, yep, either your life is gonna fall apart. You have these near death experiences. You get in a car accident. Um, your life, things are gonna begin to fall apart to get you to the point to get back to source, get back to the light. So if you're off that path and you keep ignoring it, and especially when you know, when you don't know, it's different. But
Right.
even when you don't know, these things still happen to get your attention. Just like my life fell apart at such a young age, they was trying to get my attention, and they got it.
Okay.
And I can't say that I've just been on this straight and narrow. I've bumped my head a lot, of course.
Oh yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
normal.
those type of things are some people call spiritual injuries, and like near death experiences. It's like the same thing that happens when someone takes DMT. And DMT is already in our brains. It's in plants. It's in the planet. But when it's activated in the brain, most of the time it's when you have these near-death experiences, or when you actually take DMT, which comes from a plant,
Right.
and they end up having these spiritual experiences, and even atheists have these experiences and end up believing in God, believing in angels, because that's what they see. That's what they end up communicating with, and they come back with this knowledge, sometimes ancient knowledge, all type of amazing things, and they end up, trying to help save the planet.
And I think what's very interesting, and we're going to get back to you. I just want to comment on this. I think what's very interesting about the various NDEs that I have seen, nobody's story was the same. It really like met people where they were, how they
What they
understood
resonate
things.
with.
So yeah, what they resonate with. So I say that to say we go around telling people what they should believe in. How can you tell me
Hmm.
when no two experiences are the exact same way? It's some things that are standard, yes, but there are a lot of differences. You know what I'm saying? Some people will say
Hmm.
they've seen deities. Some people believe they've seen Jesus. Some people believe they seen spirit guides. Some people say they've seen angels. You know what I'm saying? So it's different. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. So now you met this young man. Now, did you and this young man ever get into a love interest, or he just remained a friend?
No, we
And the reason I'm
did. We
asking,
worked together. We worked together
okay,
after this. We worked together for about 3 months, um, and
okay,
I ended up finding out like he was just here to help me wake up. That was
okay.
it.
Was he
And he
aware of
introduced
that?
me to the Truth Bookstore. At the time, no. He knows now.
Okay, okay. I think that okay, that's deep. That's interesting to know. Okay, we'll take note of that. Okay, so now after your relationship with him, what was the next like big clue? Like, okay, we got something here. What was the next occurrence or event, sighting,
Um,
person? You know,
well, I kind of felt lost after that because me just studying history wasn't getting it for me.
okay,
But I still kept my path with taking herbs because being a single parent with no support was very, very disappointing, especially because I have such a big family.
hmm,
So I had always dealt with depression when I was young. I dealt with suicidal thoughts. So I knew that these things weren't normal. Well, I don't even like using that word but lack for a better word. It wasn't normal for me,
right. I know what you're saying.
and but I was okay with it. I was okay with it. I knew I had every right to feel this way, so I just kept on the path of following love, following the good feeling. So I ended up getting into like left the history alone because it's only so much you can study, and um, I started getting into learning about aliens and learning about how different like American Indians worshipped the star people is what they called them.
Okay,
So I got heavy into that because that's a part of history too. So that was another way for me to study history, but it was more worldwide history instead of
okay,
just Egyptian history. Um, and then when I was 30, um, I hit a breaking point. Like I'm not happy with my life. This is the people that I was attracting. I'm like everybody just gotta go. It just was not good. But I held on to them because I was alone.
okay,
So I got to a point where I was okay with being alone. And yeah, the people around me just weren't good. And I took my son to a karate class, and there was a lady there that introduced me to Abraham Hicks. She is a basically motivational speaker speaking about spirituality, law of
okay,
attraction mostly. So law of attraction was I always believed in the power of positivity. So I used to always preach about being positive. Like, if you're positive, your life is going to work out.
Mhm.
At the time, I wasn't praying. I didn't know really what to pray for or who to pray to. I was still kind of confused about that. Like, I would pray sometimes, but rarely. I was still very angry with where I came from and felt like everybody lied to me. But I ran
Mm.
across her, and she digs deep into the way that you think and what you attract,
Mhm.
and the things that happen into your life that make you go down certain paths and the paths that are for you. So if you have these deep desires and your path is and you're on the wrong path, like, the universe is going to make a way for you to go on the right path that's going to work out for you.
Mhm.
So I had realized, like, law of attraction was everything to me at that point. I started doing vision boards. Um, I stopped watching TV. I cut out everybody in my life. I call it a spiritual cleanse. I didn't call it this back then, but I call it a spiritual cleanse now, because that's exactly what I did. I cleansed
Mhm.
out everything in my life, the food, the people, everything that I was watching. I got off of social media. My whole family got blocked. I think I changed my number at the time. Like, nobody had contact with me. And it was because I just felt like I was a big sponge, and anybody who talked to me could have hurt my feelings or
Mm.
anything. So I just wanted peace,
Right.
and I wanted my children to have peace. So I dove deep into law of attraction. I read her books. Um, that's all I was listening to was her YouTube videos and her books, and my life just literally changed. I did that for like 2 weeks before I even started letting people call me. Even my client couldn't contact me. If you
Ooh.
wanted an appointment, you had to go on my website. If you didn't listen, you just wasn't getting an appointment. Like, I
Ooh.
got super strict with it. And I didn't care, and I'm so glad I did that. Boundaries is what that was, and I didn't know that's what I was doing at the time. But yeah, I guess you could say that was my next milestone. That's pretty much rocket shipped my spirituality. And I realized, like, it's okay to not pray to a name. You can
Mm.
just speak, knowing that you have a whole guidance team. You don't have to
Mhm.
know their names or who they are or what they are. You have a whole guidance team, and knowing that you have this team that loves you unconditionally, that wants
Mhm.
you to have the best, and being able to go in meditation and tap into feeling that love from them was everything to me. So that's what helped me dive even deeper into spirituality.
Okay. That's beautiful. Yeah, boundaries is something I think is crazy, but I think everybody has to kind of go through that. And there are
Hmm.
periods that you feel like, it's just too much. I don't want this person even coming through my phone. Now, were your clients like, were they the type to kind of dump on you, or you just didn't want, you just
Hmm.
let me just minimize everything because you needed it?
At the time,
Mm, okay.
um, I started wearing headphones and listening to Abraham Hicks. So I stopped listening to music because of all the music that's out now. And I didn't know this at the time, but they play low vibrational tones and they talk about low vibrational things. So, but at the time, I just
Oh, yeah.
wanted all positivity. So I just started listening to Abraham Hicks. So when they would sit in my chair, I would be like, if you need me, tap me. But I'm putting these headphones on. And at the time, I didn't have my own salon. I was working in an open space, a big open salon. So
Okay.
I would always overhear everybody's bull crap, and I was tired of it. Like, I've been in the salon industry since I was 16. This is what women do. They come to shop and they gossip and they talk about their own shit and they talk about other people's crap.
Yep.
So, and I was raised around men, so I never liked it. So
Yeah.
I had just got to a point where I didn't care about customer service, and I put my headphones on, like, we're not talking about this today. And there are times where I got out of that because I felt bad, like, these people probably need me.
Mhm.
And then I started feeling overwhelmed, and I didn't know anything about empaths back then. Taking on their energies and their own pains and things. So I'll go home
Beat
sometimes
up.
in tears because of what these women were going through. So that's also what helped me get into being a healer, because I am surrounded by all these hurt women. A lot of these women attract um, violence in their relationships, and understanding that this is an attraction. You are attracting this in some way. And being able to help people help themselves. Like, I stopped trying to help people and I began trying to help people help themselves
Mhm.
instead of trying to help them for them.
Mhm. Oh yeah. I think too. We also have to realize. See, I've never been one of. I've never been materialistic. So a lot of things that
Mm-hmm.
other people would deal with, I haven't had to deal with. And I was kind of raised that way. We had nice things,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't a glorified. We didn't glorify things. And I think because my dad always made sure that we were comfortable and we didn't struggle. A lot of people you realize that are very materialistic come from a struggling background. But
Yes.
and then some don't. Some just materialistic. But
Mm-hmm.
I th- I look at that being rooted in materialism is a very 3D conscious, low vibrational thing. And it comes with a lot of mess. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
women want things and they go after guys that they feel can provide those things. Or it could be that, or you got the women, right, that are broken. So they look for something that they can feel whole and nurtured. I don't think it's a conscious thing. I think it's a subconscious
Mm-hmm.
thing. I'm broken
Yeah, I think all
and
of
here
that
it is,
is. Yeah.
this guy with this broken yeah, yeah. And to give an example, the woman with the man that's driving her car, he's dropping her off at work, and just he's she's taking care of him and different stuff like that, and she's handling all of his business, and it becomes a mother son relationship, but you're sleeping together, and then he's mad that you
Mm-hmm.
trying to be his mama, but he really needs a mama, and you know what I'm saying, and all of this shit. And and you don't
Mm-hmm.
realize it because you're not aware. And this is why awareness is
You want
important
love
because
so bad.
yeah, you want love so bad, and then the level of awareness is kind of dim. And when you begin to really understand yourself and what's going on in the law of attraction and stuff like that, then you can kind of get out of these situations. But I think with anything, no matter what it is you want, if it's low vibrational, then you need to understand what that comes with. I think people also need to really understand to play your role. I think we need to
Mm-hmm.
stop. Um, we have this illusion, or we know we look at this illusion and buy into the delusion that you can have it all. And no, that's not the truth. Certain actions breed certain consequences. Certain lifestyles come with certain things. You can't and certain shit just ain't gonna last forever. It might be a blast, a good 15 strong, fun ass minutes, but baby, hell is coming
Mm-hmm.
soon after. You know what I'm saying? So you just awareness is very important. Law of attraction is very important. So I'm glad that you brought that up. So anyway, so now you're going through your stages, and a lot of times when we're transforming and we're going through things, we're offending of others because they're trying to figure out
Mm-hmm.
what the hell is going on with this person. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to talk to me. They're
Mm-hmm.
acting funny, kind of rude, and they're not understanding what you're going through. And I think the messed up part is we not understanding what's going on at the time. So if you really really understood it, you'd be able to articulate it like, look, this is not personal, and I'm not trying to be unprofessional, but this is what I'm going through right now, and if I could just get through this, we will see better days. But right now I have to do this so I can better. This is the best way I can service you. Your hair gonna be fly. When you get out this chair, you're gonna
Mhm.
look good, but this is what I got to do for me, and I think this is what you came
Mhm.
for ultimately, to look good, and this is what I'm focusing on, but I gotta keep myself together, and, that is an art sometime, through everything, communication is key, but sometimes we don't even know how to articulate what we're going through, and through the process, we offend people, but it's okay though, because at the end of the day, if these people are supposed to be around you, they gonna stick around, and if they not,
Mhm.
then they're not, hell, it's
Mhm.
part of the
But
process, it's
that's
it's
when the
part of
blessings
the,
roll in. It's,
caterpillar yeah, yeah. So, now you're at the shop, so after that, what was the next big milestone? Because now you're going through this transformation period.
oh, during this time, my father was really ill. He was ill growing up. He was 55 when I was born. But at this point, he had dementia,
Okay.
diabetes, high blood pressure, a whole bunch of stuff. And by this point, he had already started deteriorating.
Mm,
So it was like a high and then a crash. But during it was a slow crash. It wasn't just a fall off.
okay.
But yeah, just watching him go through that and not really being able to be around him because of negativity in the family. Um, I had to become okay with that. And when he did pass away, that I was still hiding. Like my friends didn't know about what I believed in. Like I was still portraying myself to be Honey, like who
Mhm,
people thought Honey was, and like my real name is Shelina. So I was
mhm,
being Honey to everyone.
mhm.
And when he passed away, it triggered so much of my childhood trauma. It
Mm,
triggered a lot of memories that I had suppressed. So that was the crash, is when he actually passed away.
mm,
And during that time, I was seeking out help, spiritual help. Like I didn't have any, tribal times when in tribes, there's always a shaman. It's always like the shaman is normally a woman, and this is the storyteller, an old wise woman. This is the storyteller, the woman that's giving everyone guidance, spiritual healing. I didn't have that. I've been pretty much figuring it out on my own. So I was praying for help, and even though I was praying for the help, I was looking for it. I wasn't waiting on it.
mhm.
So the help that I was looking for, they did help a little bit, but those were not people that were going to help me. I
Okay.
ended up coming across a woman really shortly after I said this prayer. It was a few months after I said this prayer, probably about 5 months. And about a month after my father passed is when I met her. I was vending at a deli and alley, and I was vending my jewelry. I make crystal jewelry and
Mm,
sell crystals and other things like that. So I was vending there, and she came right to my table. And when she
hmm,
came to the table, I knew exactly who she was. And she ended up telling me the first thing she said to me, she had on this African head wrap. And
mm.
she told me, she just pointed at her head, like, put the crystals in your head. I was like, I put them in my bra.
Okay.
So I knew exactly who she was. Her nephew was with her, and they're both able to communicate with the other side. She was actually a high priestess. I didn't know at the time, but um, yeah, he ended up telling me, like, your father's with you all the time, and just started reading me basically.
Okay.
And then after that, they just kept in contact with me. They both called me all the time, like, how are you? Like, never had anybody do that for me.
Okay.
And that helped me a lot. And she was able to help me heal through trauma that I had suppressed and I
Mm,
didn't know about. So she was bringing things to surface for me that I needed to heal through, which I was super grateful for her because she was telling me what I needed to heal through and giving me the tools to do it too.
Oh,
A
that's
lot of
good.
times people, yeah, a lot of times people will tell you need to heal, you need to love yourself. And I got told that all the time, like, well, what the fuck does that mean? Like, how do you love yourself? What does that mean? And she was able to help me through that and actually love me. Like, she used to joke with people and tell people that I was probably her daughter in another life. But she was very, very helpful. She's the reason I became a Reiki teacher right
Oh,
before she passed away on my birthday this year.
mm,
And right
okay.
before she passed away, I saw her and I actually recorded a reading. Normally, I don't record them, but I actually recorded it so I can still hear her voice when I want to. And
Okay.
this was the first time I had lost somebody that wasn't family that meant a lot to me.
Okay.
So that was like very heartbreaking. I probably cried more about her than I did my own father. Even I was very heartbroken about my father. But this was about 3 years ago I met her. So she was very life changing. I would say she was a huge milestone in my life. She taught me a lot. She came from, well, she was initiated in Ghana. A lot of her lineage is in New Orleans, and her mother and grandmother, like she comes from healers.
Okay.
And yeah, she's been able to share like old, wise stories, exactly what I wanted. Being able to share old, wise stories with me, stories that would resonate with me. Our personalities were a lot alike. We thought the same, and I didn't really have anybody with that around me. So she definitely accelerated my spirituality. I had a lot of doubts in the things that I was being guided to do,
Okay.
only because I was still brainwashed from the religion. So I was doubting myself, and she just confirmed a lot of things for me.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess that was my next biggest milestone, and then becoming a Reiki teacher, being able to. I didn't want to help people anymore that was willing to help themselves. So I was super depleted. It was making me want to go move to the mountains, like just forget helping people. Period. I don't want to do this. I just want to go grow some flowers and some plants and live off the land and just be away from humans because
Hmm.
they just are damaged and not willing to love. But yeah, I started changing my perspective, which she helped me change my perspective of humans. And she told me I was supposed to be teaching, but this has been like very gratifying to be able to help people that want to help themselves
Yeah.
and giving them the tools to be able to actually help themselves and change their lives. And like I said, I've only been doing it for about 7 months, but to see these people, like, I follow them on social media. So to
Hmm.
be able to see them transform over social media has been like way more than just gratifying. And
Okay.
I'm very grateful that they even trusted me to help guide them through their spiritual path. Because I know how important that is. Like, you have to really trust somebody to ask them for help or guidance or anything like that. This is your life. This is this is your
Yeah.
whole life in my hands. I feel like, and not that I'm at fault or anything if it goes bad. Like, I'm not saying that, but I do feel like these are my babies, and they're trusting me with their lives, and they're asking me questions that I'm actually able to answer because I've done all this studying for all these years, and
Hmm.
because I've been alone. My books have been my friends. I've been reading books on pretty much everything: parenting, meditation, um, herbs, all types of things since I was 17. I was shunned at 17 is when my books became my friends. So all these years I've been doing studying because I didn't have nobody. I've been able to help people with more than just spirituality. Like if they're struggling with smoking cigarettes, like I know a way that it help you stop smoking cigarettes, or just different things like that that sparked my interest. And now I'm able to help them. And if I can't help them, I know somebody can.
That's dope. That's dope. So with the whole crystals, like, how does she tell you? What crystals does she tell you to put on your head, And at what time or
Well, she told me to start wearing a head wrap, which I still don't do. Like, funny acting when it comes to stuff touching my head. I don't like things on my head.
okay.
When I feel a strong urge to, I wear a white head wrap. White repels energy.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Dark colors, dark colors absorb them. So she basically told me to wear a white head wrap and put amethyst in my crown or clear quartz.
Okay.
And she kept her crystals everywhere. Like she wore them in her bra too, but she had locks, so she stuffed her lock crystals and would wrap her hair. And she said even on the airplane, she would hold crystals in her hand, and she was like, "This is my protection." She would always say that, like, "This is my protection." I just
Mm,
followed her footsteps.
okay. And so the amethyst on it's supposed to like activate or help
It
strengthen the
enhances your
crown
psychic
chakra.
abilities. It's crown and third eye, depending on the amethyst. Some amethyst is just for the third eye. Some
Hmm.
amethyst that you see white in
Hmm.
is for your third eye and your crown.
Okay.
So basically, it enhances your psychic abilities and it gives you protection. So a lot of empaths have these psychic abilities, and when they taking on other people's energies, it's like they feel all over the place. And with the crystal, it's more observant instead of taking it on and losing your head.
Okay.
Um, and you're able to see things for what they really are instead of like we were talking about this whole time being everybody's program. So it's basically like smoke and mirrors. So every time you look outward, every time you open your eyes, every time you look in a mirror, it's smoke. You can't see what it really is because you're programmed. You're culturally conditioned. So amethyst helps reveal what's real. You're
Okay.
able to see the real people around you. You're able to see the people that don't like you, that claim to like you. Yeah,
Mm,
you just see what reality really is from a God's point of view instead of from a human's point of view where you're judging. Now, you
okay. I
may
might.
begin to judge after you see downloads, as we call it, because we are like computers. So you may
Right.
hear a lot of spiritual people call it downloads. But after you get these downloads, you may get paranoid, but you can heal yourself from that because paranoia will end up you attracting more people and things like this.
Okay. Okay. I will say this person I used to go to, a reader, did tell me I was talking to her about an experience that I had in New Orleans. New Orleans was a wonderful place. I want to go back. But I do believe that it was these people we ran into and they were trying to, I know it might sound crazy, but human traffic.
Mhm.
And she was just saying, it's a lot of stuff going on that you can't even see, behind and be in the shop behind the walls and all that stuff. And she was just saying, like, wear a white head wrap when you go to New
Excuse me.
Orleans, to protect yourself. And so, yeah, I have never worn a white head wrap. I might purchase one. I can't see me doing it every day. I can't because I like my coils here, but
Mhm.
it might be something I try. You know what I'm saying? Just to see how that works. So that's a good. If you guys are listening, that's a good tip. Try it out and
Yeah,
let
so
us
if
know.
you're, it's good. It's
Um,
good to try when you feel like you're all over the place. You feel ungrounded. You feel like you're
okay,
taking on a lot of people's negative energy. That helps be observant of what's going on too. Honestly, I didn't try it until I was on a mushroom trip,
mm,
and my kids were around me. So it was like I was taking on their energy, and normally humans are on an emotional roller coaster every day, every moment.
mm,
So, um, yeah, I was taking on both of their energies, and it was a constant up and down, especially if they're watching TV. Like something happens in a movie and it's scary, and then something funny happens. Like it's just a constant roller coaster. So I was taking
Mhm.
it on, and I kept hearing, "Put on a white head wrap. Put on a hot white head wrap." But I'm like, I don't like anything touching my head. Put on white head wrap. So I'm like, okay. I put on the white head wrap, and everything just calmed. Like everything that I was feeling and hearing stopped immediately. I was like, oh, well, let me stick some crystals in here now. So it
Man,
took me a long time to listen to her.
yeah, I mean, sound like you was taking it on for real. I'm gonna have to get
Everybody
them.
does though. You're just not aware of it,
Oh yeah.
especially especially when you who you love. So if you have a husband, children, or just people whoever you love, you're even more strongly connected to them. So when things happen to them, you feel it, and you think you're
Yep.
alone. So yeah,
Yep.
but
That's
one
so
thing that
true.
I try to keep in practice, because you're not gonna always have a white head wrap. Things like crystals and white head wraps and sage are all tools. They help. They do work.
Right.
But one thing I try to keep in practice is visualizing a white shield around me.
Okay.
And whenever I do that, and paying attention to how I feel. Like if you have a bad feeling about, like about to go to the grocery store, you have a bad feeling. Visualize a white shield around you, and then you go to the grocery store, you end up witnessing somebody fighting or something like that, and you end up not taking on that energy. That was that bad feeling you had. You just didn't know what you
Mm-hmm.
was about to get into. So really just paying attention to how you feel. And you practice that by meditating. So in the morning I do my protection shield. Um, and if I feel like my shield is low, I just visualize again. You don't have to go on deep meditation. You can, even if you can't literally visualize it because you're not used to visualizing,
Mm-hmm.
just by you thinking of it, it works. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, think of it, it works. Wherever your attention goes, energy flows. So if
Yeah.
you're thinking of this white shield covering you, that's what's going to happen.
Wow. That's deep. So I know it's some things we have dove deep in. I know it's some things that you would like to share in this interview. And I'm going to go ahead and let you have the floor on the things that you would really like to share. And if you want to save some for another interview, we could do that too. But we're ever growing anyway, so I mean, it's not like the experiences stop here. You know what I'm saying? It will be more
Yes.
as we grow, and especially I think going forward, because I mean, the way that with the events and things like that, and actually being somewhat accessible to the public, I'm sure it's going to be some stuff that pops
Mm,
up, you know. So,
mhm.
but anyway, share what you would like, and when you're ready, we can resume for next time. If whatever you want to do, you have the floor.
Well, the thing that sticks out to me the most to say is that I know right now a lot of people are going through awakenings and they're lost and confused and things are falling apart. Even their own beliefs and what they believe in is falling apart. The jobs they are working for, they no longer want to work at. The passions that they used to have, they no longer have anymore. The people they love, they don't want to deal with anymore. Like literally, everything is changing and people are confused. But it's because these things that no longer serve them is falling off the same way that everything was falling off for me is what got me on this path. And my advice would be to follow the good feelings and follow love. Because in every ancient text, they always say God is love. That's one truth that you can follow, that God is love. So even
Mhm.
though you're lost and confused, always follow the good feelings. And a lot of times, those good feelings and things that you're guided to do are far fetched, very far fetched. Like you wouldn't have been able to tell me 5 years ago that I would be a Reiki teacher. Like what? What is that? or even wearing. I mean, I always loved crystals. I didn't know why. Wearing crystals all the time, teaching my kids meditation, like things like that were shunned. Like you weren't supposed to do yoga, you weren't supposed to meditate and things like that. So me just going against what was in my core beliefs, and your core
Mm.
beliefs are from the age of you're in your mother's womb all the way to the age of 7, and your core beliefs is basically 90% of what you believe is 90% of your subconscious mind. So these core beliefs are going to start to get tested, and that's a good thing. So just
Mhm.
follow the good feelings. Whatever you're guided to Google, whatever you're guided to look up, whatever book you feel strongly attracted to go buy and it sounds far fetched, go buy it. Even if you feel like you're not ready for it. I buy so many books, and I have so many books that I haven't read.
Mm.
And like now that I'm looking at those books, years ago I wouldn't have been ready for it. But now,
Mm.
like one of the books that I have, I can't remember the title of it, but right now I'm in yoga teacher training, and we're learning about breath work and different things like that, and connecting to the mind, body, and spirit through yoga. And one of the books I have all these things mentioned in the book, but it's not a book about yoga. It's not why I
Mm.
bought the book. So just different things like that. Just not being afraid to stand at the edge of the cliff and jump, and being able to trust that the universe is going to catch you.
Yeah.
And the universe, a lot of times people don't know, especially coming from religion, people don't know what the universe is. They feel like disrespectful when you say the universe bless me. It's like you're saying that God is not involved. The
Yeah.
universe is God. The universe
Yeah.
is, well, God is in everyone. God is in the plants, God is in animals, God is in the
Mhm.
humans. So sometimes when you're manifesting something, it could be somebody at the grocery store giving you a message
Mhm.
out of the blue. That's a part of the universe. And
Yes.
when you begin to live on this path of love and loving yourself, it's going to seem like you're in the center of the universe. Like everything's going to begin to work out for you. Just believe in yourself and trust in yourself. And God knows your heart. So even if you are wrong, it's okay. You're going to be guided in the right direction. And I strongly feel like that God does not punish, God does not get angry. And if you think of anything, if you think of all this as energy, anger and love is of the opposite vibration. So if
Mhm.
God is love, He cannot be angry. He cannot punish you. There is no such thing. He's more of like the observer. So
Mhm.
if you want these blessings, He'll get to you. If you want, um, or even the things that you don't want, if you keep thinking about things that you don't want, which is law of attraction, you're gonna
Mm.
get that too, because that's what you're asking for. And He's just like, okay, well here you go. That's what you asked for. Well, now I want a yacht with a boat attached to it. Okay. So if you have no resistance to it, you get it. But and with my story, like I feel like, not that I feel like, I am living proof. I've been
Mhm.
able to break generational curses with my children, not raising them and trying to make them fear me to obey me. I feel like that's slave mentality, which is also put in the Bible. I don't raise them that way. If they don't listen to me, then that's fine. When they ask me for something, I just say no. Remember, you ain't listening to me, and then they listen.
Right.
It doesn't have to be complicated. And I come from violence and abuse, and I've been able to overcome that. I did attract violence and abuse and stalkers and things like
Mm.
that. But when I realized that those are things that I was in fear of, I was able to. And these things are like exercise, and it's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to change your beliefs overnight. It's like exercise, and that's why affirmations are very powerful, but they have to be believable too to you.
Mhm.
So I knew once I found out that I was attracting the violence and bad relationships, I ended up literally attracting the love of my life. He's super amazing. And things, I even wrote a vision board
Mhm.
for relationship goals. Everything I wrote on that board had come to fruition. Every single thing. Even I had things on there saying, I want to be kissed in the rain. I want to be shut me up with kisses. Just little stuff like that happens. And I
Mm.
remember telling people about little stuff like this is what I want. I want to be in a peaceful relationship where we don't argue. And people used to be like, that girl, that is not realistic. And I used to be like, I know I ain't never seen it, but it is.
Yeah.
And I ended up attracting it. Like, this is the best relationship I've ever been in. This is the most love I've ever felt. I don't have to slave at the salon anymore like I used to believe. My whole life has transformed just in a matter of just a few years of me really studying the law of attraction. And it's always going to be a process. It's always going to be a journey. And the journey doesn't even end when you transfer out of this realm, which there is no death, in my opinion. You
Right.
transition. So even
Exactly.
when you transition out of the realm, the journey still doesn't end. This was a learning process to you, and you're still going to be learning even after you transition.
Mhm.
So now I'm just excited about the journey. When roadblocks come in, I don't believe that they're roadblocks. These are things that protect me. So it depends on how you're perceiving, what you perceive things, what your perception is of things. And
Yeah.
things like, I know molestation is very common. 3 out of 5 people are molested.
Mhm.
Well, that was a statistic years ago. It's probably more than that now, but that's a high number. And people are walking around very angry and holding on to these traumas, and these traumas are literally making them heal. And with
Mhm.
women, it ends up being fibroid cysts or cervical cancer, breast cancer, different things like
Mhm.
that. And you begin to, my advice to would help, um, that would help, is to see that person as a child, the person that hurts you, no matter what type of trauma you see from them. If you were abused, see that person as a child. And 99% of the time, that person was done way worse than you.
Mhm.
And if you see them as a child and see them as a hurt child, and even if you pray to see them as God sees them, you actually might visualize it, not visualize it, it may be shown to you in a dream or in meditation what happened to that person. So it
Mhm.
depends on how deep you want to dive into healing yourself if you really want to let these things go. I always ask God for me to see people through God's eyes. I ask God to see myself through God's eyes. God doesn't judge.
Mhm.
So when you see these people through God's eyes, you're able to see where they come from,
Yeah.
knowing that trauma has happened to all these people that's done the trauma to you and others. So
Mhm.
knowing that can help you let it go, and on some level accept it happened to you. Not to accept that it was okay. None of that stuff is ever okay. But to
Right.
accept that it did happen and it is in the past, and you don't have to relive trauma 1,000 times a day. Because when you hold on to this trauma, you relive it 1,000 times a day.
Mhm.
So
So
yeah,
true.
follow love
That
and
is so
follow the
true.
good feelings. The feelings is the secret. Neville Goddard wrote a book on that. Yeah, the feelings is the secret. So if you're following the feelings, but if you're drinking and drinking alcohol and things like that that numb the feelings and numb the trauma, you're not going to be able to know what the good feelings are because you're
Mhm.
suppressing everything and you're numbing it. So being
Mhm.
able to break yourself away from the things that are no longer serving you, and if you really want to dive into healing even more, taking things that are death out of your diet. So things like animals and fish, anything that pisses and shits and gives birth babies, take it out of your diet so that these plants that you eat, these high vibrational things can raise your vibrations. It's easier to raise your vibrations when you're not taking in these death basically. And when you eat death, when you're eating these animals, you're eating the emotions of them too. And none
Hmm.
of them die peacefully. They're in these slaughterhouses that are horrible and dirty. And these are like real people. They have emotions just like we do. And you're eating that and you wonder why you're all over the place and feeling unstable. So if you really want to dive into healing yourself, stop eating. If you there's points where I've done water fast and master cleanse. I've done so many different detoxes and cleanses, and every single time that I do, I connect to God at a totally different level. And every time that I do it, it's at a higher level. It's always like spiritually graduating or something like that, which is awesome because no human can give you this. No human
Right.
can give you these feelings. No human can give you these understandings and wisdom and guidance.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's all I have to say.
Well, I do have one question. What was the question? What was the question? Oh, about the vision board. So, you said you wrote the words I want, cuz I'm asking because, a lot of times I have been told several times, not discounting what you're saying. I'm just trying to get understanding so people will know what works, cuz we always think it's
Mhm.
just one way. But I have been told that you're supposed to say I have, because when you say I
Mhm.
want, it's like you're lacking
You're gonna
or
always
something
want
like
it.
that. You said what? Say that again.
So you're gonna always want it if you say I want. So when I wrote
Okay.
my
Oh,
vision board, I wrote the words. I didn't say I want or I have. I just wrote relationship goals, kiss me in the rain, um, meditate together. They were just words. I didn't say I want or I have. They were just
okay.
words.
Okay. I just wanted
And
to, okay, that's good.
I try to keep it general. Like before I started this relationship with my boyfriend, I I would before him I would say a prayer. Like I would say exactly what I wanted in a man, and that's exactly what I get. And afterwards, would be like, I don't think I was asking for the right things. So before he came along, I asked for. I didn't ask. I said, "Give me what I need," and I just left it at that. I don't know what I need. I don't know what's good for me. Just
Mhm.
give me what I need. And but that was probably about 5 years after that. No, 3 years after I wrote that vision board. So yeah, try to keep it general. There is such thing as scripting, and when you do scripting, you're writing a story as if it already happened. So you
Okay.
can write a story, a love story, or a story of you manifesting money, as if it already happened. So when you write things like that, you say how grateful you are for having these things, and how grateful you are for having this, being surrounded by love and different things like that.
Okay, that's excellent advice. Thank you so much for clarifying that, because I think it's very important that people know this information. Information is powerful, and information, we cannot be enlightened without information. And I mean, unless you do have some people now that's having direct connections, and but a lot of people don't. So it's a process. And even me, I was just thinking, um, I had pulled some tarot cards a few times, and it said ask for help. And it's like I do. I don't. But maybe I should be asking to send a person that can assist me in my needs in this journey. You know what I'm saying? Because like you, I'm finding my way, doing my research, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. But it helps to have a helping hand, you know.
Well, sometimes when asking for help, um, like if you want help with spirituality, it's
Hmm.
good to be more specific. When you are trying to manifest, I try to keep it more general.
Okay.
Um, but when it comes to asking for help from your spirit guides, like
Hmm.
because I came from abuse and mental abuse, physical abuse, um, I was still dealing with a lot of, I don't like saying the word issues, but for lack of a better word, mental issues, confidence within myself, thinking that I'm not good enough, thinking that I'm not smart, thinking that I'm a bad parent. Just these are things that I was told,
Hmm.
thinking that I'm ugly, knowing that when I look in the mirror, I know I'm not ugly, but these are deep rooted beliefs of myself.
Hmm.
So with things like that, I was more specific. Give me help and guidance on. And at the time, I didn't even know what these feelings were.
Hmm.
So I wanted these things to be brought to surface. So help me bring these things to surface that I need to heal from it, to overcome, so that I can be a better person, so that I can be better in my business, so I can be better with my children, a better parent to my children. So being more specific to ask for help, not just saying I need help. What am I supposed to do? What am I doing wrong? Like trying to leave, try to leave out what am I doing wrong and what am I supposed to do.
Right.
Ask for more specific help. The more specific you are with the help, like even when it comes to organizing your home, help me get more organized. And if you start seeing more things pop up on YouTube, and then your spirit guides use, we are a technology based world now. So
Oh yeah, they
your
definitely coming
spirit
at
guides,
YouTube.
yeah, so your spirit guides may guide you to watch a movie or guide you to look up something on YouTube or something. May a lot of times for me, videos pop up on YouTube. This stuff I never even searched. It'll pop up
Hmm.
on YouTube or it'll pop up on Google, or these phones is kind of funny acting. So it's like you make a mistake, tap something. It's like, oh, how did I even get here? And it ended up
Hmm.
being the answer what you had, what question you have. But it's releasing that resistance of like being in the vibration of begging. Be
Right.
more confident when you ask for help, knowing that you are going to receive the help, whether it's through a human, your phone, or even an animal.
Right. Right. Well, that's amazing. Thank you so much. And I hope the listeners, I hope all of you that is listening or watching has gained a lot of valuable information. Honey was so gracious to share her background, her story, and the things that she knows. And I'm sure going forward, we will have more interviews when things pop up to really, kick some ass with this thing and, give you guys just uplift you and some encouragement. So tell somebody about
Absolutely.
it. Share this video, share this podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much, honey, for being my guest today. You are
Thank you for
appreciated.
having me.
Oh yes. Oh yes, anytime. And we will see you soon.
Peace.
Yeah, right.